Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
And there's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
World.
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest.
Welcome back to The Reheat, a podcast that re-examines the wildest celebrity news and scandals of yesteryear and asks, how would we react to the same events if they had transpired today? I'm Sarah Sahagian.
And I'm Steph Hassan, and this week spells yet another hot off the press. That's when we do a mini-sode that discusses the craziest headlines that we are both super obsessed with right now. Okay, so let's run through a few quickies first. Sarah, feel free to give me any reaction, any thoughts as I go through these. Now, first up, White Lotus creator Mike White is returning to Survivor. As many people know, he was originally a contestant years ago, went on to be this incredible showrunner, producer, etc. Now he's coming back, which I actually really love. A lot of people are side-eyeing him for it, but I think it's fun. Why not? Okay, second up. This one is really ridiculous. Trump has pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley of reality show Chrisley Knows Best after they were charged for bank fraud and tax evasion. Now, you might ask why, which is a good question. He simply said, "You guys don't look like terrorists."
Okay. Well, you know, sometimes if you have a show you like, if you have performers you like, reality or otherwise, you don't want it to get canceled because they're in prison. This is what I'm assuming happened, right? Isn't that what you're assuming happened?
It's the only logic I can see because we know Trump is a reality TV guy, so that's got to be it. They're definitely as white as they come. And we know to Trump, white people simply cannot be terrorists. So maybe that's
or
a
criminals
part
of
it.
any sort, according to him.
There you go.
I mean, because you don't have to be a terrorist to commit the crimes they committed,
Of
right?
course
so that
not.
is also just a weird, A, white people can be terrorists. B, you don't have to be a terrorist to commit those crimes.
Yeah. You'd think.
I don't know.
I know
I don't
you'd
know,
think the U.S. president would know how to define terrorism, but we know very well this man does not know. Now, another headline, this one a little bit more fun, but a little bit more sad depending on who you are. It's looking like Bowen Yang, who in my opinion is one of the few good parts of SNL these days, will be leaving the series soon. He's kind of been hinting at it. Some people think that maybe Chloe Fineman is also going to be hitting out, though she hasn't really made any hints or said anything. But those two are actually very funny and I love them. So that's interesting. And also not necessarily a bad thing. He's about to have his own career. He was just in The Wedding Banquet. He's doing great. He's doing fine. So let's jump into our stories of the week, the juicier stuff, the meat. So first up, Canadian pop star Tate McCrae finally earned her first #1 hit. I'm surprised it actually took this long. Sir, I want to know your thoughts. We haven't talked about Tate McCrae before, but she's huge right now. She's massive.
She's huge, and I literally just found out she existed about a month ago.
Okay.
So I didn't know about her. It's one of those things where the algorithm just decided she wasn't for me. It's like, you are a mom, you are in your late 30s, you don't need to know who Tate McCrae is. And it's funny because my daughter actually, like, she knows all the words to Hot to Go, and so she knows Chappell Roan, and she knows, I mean, Blackpink, and obviously all children know Taylor Swift, so she knows Taylor Swift.
Of course.
So I thought that there was like a Canadian pop star, I would know her. But what's interesting is she's like if Sabrina Carpenter courted the male gaze and couldn't sing.
Wow. I love that. I co-sign that. Yes. Tate can't really sing.
Yeah, she can't sing. She's an amazing dancer. And what's
Very
really
good dancer.
sad, what's really sad is this girl's so young. She's only 21. And she started out on So You Think You Can Dance Teen. And she's a phenomenal dancer. Like back when her audition, I watched her audition from when she was, I think, 13, 14. I was weeping. It is so beautiful. Have you seen it, Sadaf?
No, I didn't even know that she started there.
It's so beautiful. And Paula literally says to her, "You are a gift from God." Like she's, and it's not narration. It's like she's so stunningly beautiful. Like the storytelling transcends the art. Like she's communicating with you through dance. It's stunning. It's beautiful. And then she becomes this manufactured pop star, and now she's a singer and she can't sing. And she's so talented. She doesn't need to be an untalented singer. She could just be a talented dancer. She should be in a ballet company or a modern dance company somewhere. But she has gone this other route. Her songs are terrible. And now she has the #1 with Morgan Wallen. But he's so controversial. I mean, this is a man who has used racial slurs, who's been arrested multiple times for things that were really damaging, like throwing a chair off of a building, right? Like, this is not a particularly nice guy. So not only is she sort of abandoning the things she's good at, which is classical and modern dance. And I mean, yes, she does some dancing in her videos, but it's not the same. She's also collaborating with this guy. Like, I feel so bad for this 21-year-old. What about you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's such an odd combo too, because I feel like her team seemed to be leaning into the Canadian thing, and he's kind of the opposite of that entire sentiment. But also, I feel like it's one of those, she's so packaged. She's so prepackaged. Like, there's no way around it, right? And I think in right now, the era that she's in, she released a new album recently. She dropped a new album recently. I feel like her team is trying to set her up as a Britney Spears of our time.
Yes.
Which, first of all, can never be done. We're never going to have another Britney. It's just not going to happen, because also Britney was very 00s, late 90s. That time is just never going to come back again. And yeah, Tate sings kind of like, I think a lot of people on the internet a while back dubbed it like singing in cursive. She sort of does that warbled accent singing that drives me fucking nuts. Yeah, and I can't take it. But that seems to be connecting with Gen Zs, with her younger fans, and she's selling. She's doing really, really well. Like, she may have just gotten her #1 hit, but she's massive. She's doing arena tours. She's a hit. So on the one hand, while I agree with you, this is not really where her talent lies. I think she would be way better as someone who's just dancing full time. Why say no to a whole career as a massive pop star?
Well, that's the thing, because it's harder to monetize dance. And if you are amazing at dance, I guess your best case scenario is you become somebody like a Baryshnikov. And I don't think we can have another Baryshnikov. Ideally. I don't think we can have another Baryshnikov. I don't even think we can have another Karen Kane. I think the culture is not where it was when those people took off. I mean, if you look at somebody like a Misty Copeland, who's one of the most famous dancers of our time, who's, just a dancer. Misty's not a pop star, right? Misty's a ballerina. She's definitely not going to have as much money as Tate McCrae is going to have. So I guess, like, if you want to monetize your abilities, I get it. This is a capitalist decision. And, her mom was a business owner. She owned a dance studio, and her dad's a lawyer for oil and gas companies. So I guess she comes from a line of people who make decisions within a capitalist system and are okay with going the route that will pay them the best. I mean, maybe that's it. But also, she's so young. Is she really? And I don't want to say, oh, this is false agency, because that's condescending. But at 21, do you really know if this is what you want?
She's so young, and I think my big fear, too, is that we've seen, especially in the last year, so many young stars, especially female pop stars, talking about how difficult it was when they were so prepackaged and they were so young, and all of the tough things that they faced and all the shit that they've been through. We're lucky that some of them are really in one piece right now. So I wonder how she's going to come through this, what her trajectory is going to be like, because that's one thing you can say when you're a pop star who's this successful. She's probably going to have some longevity, whereas as a dancer, you don't really have that. I mean, Misty is such a good example of someone who is like a pop star of ballet, where she's still going, which is incredible, but not a lot of people her age get that luxury, which is ridiculous because she's still quite young. But I don't know. It's interesting to see where Tate will go, but I'm so with you. Every time I hear about her, and I'm always on TikTok. I spend too much time on TikTok. She's all over TikTok. I'm just like, my God, I've never felt older. I will say I do enjoy her song Sports Car. Sarah, I encourage you to check
I listen
out.
to that one too. She can't sing. Like, that's some of the worst singing. It's
she's
so
not
good.
Even
She's
really
not even
singing,
trying.
right? She's not trying. It's like a lot of whispering. Yeah, there we go. We're on
She's
the same
whispering.
page.
That one's the most clever. That one, if it were just that song, you'd be like, oh, maybe she's somewhat similar to Sabrina Carpenter, because that one's kind of funny. But I feel like most of the time it just feels very male gazy, and I don't know if that's chosen.
She's very sexed up.
And what's interesting is that pop stars today, this new generation of pop stars, aren't really courting the male gaze. I mean, you have Chappell Roan, who's openly queer and has said she has no interest in dating men. You have Sabrina Carpenter, who is very sexual, but not sexualized, right? She's like, this is my desire. I'm in control. I want sex all the time. But it's funny. It's all about her desire. It centers the fact that she like wants all of her partners to be well endowed. She's always talking
I
about
love
that, like
that.
she's objectifying them.
But you're right. She's more authentic because she's also saying XYZ has tortured me. He's an asshole. I'm sick of him, but also I love sex. And like, I find her to be so much more authentic and relatable, which is also interesting because she's also very young. But I think she's totally tapped into something that is natural to her and it's relatable for people who are listening. And that's really interesting for a modern pop star too. Whereas you're so right, Tate is just not able to capture that. And by the way, part of that too is the prepackaging where, like, for instance, that song Sports Car has like masters of songwriting and production behind it who are writing this music for her and putting all of it together. And I know her fans are going to come at me. I know she does do some of the writing. That's great. But
Does she?
Allegedly. I don't actually know. But that says a lot, right? Like, even that backing beat on that song is so incredible. It's really good. But that's not because of Tate. That's because of the incredible team that she is able to pay for and afford.
Yeah. And I mean, part of me is thinking like her best case scenario is she matures and becomes kind of like a Canadian Kylie Minogue, right? Where she becomes a little bit more in control of her image because Kylie's also a great dancer and produces fun music that you like to dance to yourself. So I'm hoping that happens to her. I'm hoping she can become more in control of her image and it can feel more like she's sexual as opposed to sexualized. I don't know. We'll have to see. And it's interesting. Okay, this keeps me up at night.
Hit me.
Do you think she voted Conservative in Canada's last election?
Honestly, I'd be shocked if she did vote.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it. And by the way, Tate, not to come at you, girl. Like, I just feel like she's so busy and I don't know that it's something that's on top of mind for her necessarily. I don't know if she was very vocal during the election. Also, to be fair, I don't recall that.
No. And it's funny. Some people have said she's conservative coded. And it's funny because I can't really point to anything about her that is specifically conservative coded. I don't know.
It might just be that her family's wealthy, like her parents are wealthy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's part of it. But I mean, I don't think people would say that Gracie Abrams, even though her family has way more money, is conservative coded. I think people would assume she voted for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Wouldn't think that about her. So why is that? It was funny. Anne Helen Peterson did an entire episode of her podcast about Tate McCrae and the allure of Tate McCrae. And it's fun. They talk about how a lot of her dancing, even though Tate is an excellent dancer, is choreography. So it's really beneath her because a lot of it is just like flipping her hair when she is an amazing dancer who went to like the Alberta's version of the National Ballet School. Like, this is a classically trained, amazing dancer. But they were talking about her being conservative coded, but they didn't really explain. I don't want to criticize them, but they didn't really give examples of what that meant. And I do know other people have said the same thing, but is it just her energy is conservative and we don't know why it just is? Or is there something she's doing that is sort of saying, hey, conservatives, I'm the pop star for you, not like Sabrina or Chapel?
That's a really good point. I don't know. It might even be just the fact that she doesn't talk about it. And a lot of the time we assume from celebrities, if they don't say anything, they're probably doing the thing you don't want them to do. But she's also so young. It's just so hard for me to imagine. But maybe I'm giving her a benefit of the doubt where I shouldn't be. But it's an interesting thing. Let's keep a lookout for hints and clues. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's 21. Maybe she doesn't even really have political beliefs yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean to say.
She might not have them. Yeah, she might not have them.
She's been working at a young age.
Yeah, I have heard there are rumors her parents have problematic views. Having said that, people are not their parents. So that doesn't mean that for sure that she has them. All right, but we should probably move on. I could talk about Tate McCrae all day.
I know. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, one other piece of news that we have both been dying to talk about just personally anyway, so we're going to do it on the podcast, is the drama surrounding Hugh Jackman's love life. So, quick recap. 2 years ago, he and his longtime wife, Deborah Lee Furness, separated. Just so, for a little bit of background, they were married for nearly 30 years. That is a long time just generally, but especially for a Hollywood couple. They've got 2 grown kids. Now, just months ago, Hugh stepped out with his new love, Broadway star Sutton Foster, after. And this week, Deborah officially filed for divorce. And in a statement to the Daily Mail, which I think is worth noting that it was to the Daily Mail, she was quite scathing. She said, this was a very long statement, by the way. This is a shortened version, okay? Quote, heart and compassion goes out to everyone who has traversed the traumatic journey of betrayal. It's a profound wound that cuts deep. However, I believe in a higher power and that God/the universe, whatever you relate to as your guidance, is always working for us. This belief has helped me navigate the breakdown of an almost 3-decade marriage. I have gained much knowledge and wisdom through this experience. It can hurt, but in the long run, returning to yourself and living within your own integrity, values, and boundaries is liberation and freedom. Phew. Okay, to also add, for years, rumors have surrounded Hugh, largely suggesting he's secretly a gay man, which is also problematic in a way, because you and I were talking about this earlier this week, but it almost seems like it definitely seems like in Hollywood, bisexuality just cannot exist. And by the way, again, we don't know either way. He could be straight. We don't know. I don't remember any concrete rumors that he's cheated, but I think the rumors that of his sexuality imply that he has. Sarah, what do you make of it all? And do we think Sutton is the other woman?
Well, yeah, Sutton got divorced too, shortly after she and Hugh did The Music Man together on Broadway. So I suspect there might have been an emotional affair or tension. Here's the thing, though, and this is what a lot of people who cheat will say, or not cheat, but who get together after, and have emotional affairs. At the time you have an emotional affair, a lot of people say they didn't realize it was an emotional affair, right? Like it just sort of felt natural and it kind of creeps up on you. So I do see how two people who are committed to their marriage, one married for 10 years, Hugh was married for 30, could end up in an affair. It could kind of creep up on you when you work with someone, but also like any marriage can end in an affair because infidelity is really common. If you look at the statistics, some argue the majority of marriages are affected by infidelity, and that is simply because people change. People change, and we all want to think that if this happened to us, we would have the self-control and we would have the loyalty not to do it. And I mean, we can all hope. Let's hope. But I do think it's the height of hubris to be like, those losers, I would never do that. I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where like that could happen to me. Someone could leave me for someone they had an affair with. And does that make them a bad person? I don't know. But we act like infidelity in our society. We react to infidelity like we react to someone murdering someone. When you find out someone is a murderer, you're like, well, I can't like them anymore. That's all I need to know about them. Their character is wholly bad. I don't think that infidelity is morally equivalent, but we act like that. That is the way we act. Like, you cheated or you were the other woman, you're like a murderer. Nothing you do is valid. You're bad.
I think you're so right. And we've talked about this in the past on the podcast. Evidently, Omar agrees. But when I was younger, I used to definitely think there is nothing worse than infidelity, perhaps only murder. But as I've grown older and I've dated and I've had my own relationships, things are so much more fluid. There's more gray in the black and white. But when you're in a relationship and you love somebody and there's commitment there, it's more complicated than that, and there's love there. That's a little bit different, so I'm with you. And I think what's interesting with this is, the numbers do add up. Like the timeline certainly does, with the time they were doing their show together, with the time that they both separated. I think it's interesting that Deborah released the statement now. What I will say is, listen, it sucks to be cheated on. So she has a lot of empathy for me. At the same time, I will also say 30 years is a long fucking time to be married. And that is such a great success. I think that's another problem that we have in society, where when a relationship ends, it's considered entirely a failure. It's not. That's a huge success. And I just separate out of all of it. And because, I love gossip and I enjoy Hugh Jackman, I'm thrilled that he's in this fun new relationship, because I also love Sutton Foster. And I hope Deborah finds another new love. And I really hope that he didn't break her heart too terribly, I
think he probably did. And I have a lot of sympathy for her, because yes, anytime a marriage dissolves, it's awful. I have to say, though, because she really emphasizes the betrayal aspect, if he'd just come home and said, there's no other woman, I'm not cheating on you, I'm just not feeling it anymore, is that almost worse? Where it's not like, I have this new bond, I'm just not into this. So would it be any better if there were no other woman? Because Deborah's statement really emphasizes the betrayal angle, right? The implication that he cheated. Would it be better if he just came home and said, there's no other person? I haven't formed another bond. I'm just not feeling it anymore. I just don't want to be with you. I don't think that's any better. I think that almost would hurt more. And I think divorce after 30 years always hurts, no matter what the reason. And I have to say, I know people who've done great divorce. Sometimes there's infidelity. I know of a woman, I don't want to out anyone, who bought a home when she was married and renovated it and then just informed her husband when it was done, I'm leaving you and I have a new home after 30 years of marriage. Not for another person. She didn't leave for another person, just to be on her own. And that, I think, is the most devastating reason. I just want to be alone and I've planned this. So I think the problem is great divorce always hurts. It doesn't matter what the reason is. If you spend 30 years with someone, 30 years, and it's over and they don't want to be with you until you die, it's always going to feel like a betrayal, whether there was infidelity or not.
Yeah.
It's always going to hurt. So I have a lot of sympathy for her, but I would have just as much sympathy for Deborah if he would just come home and said, listen, what we had was great. I'm not feeling it anymore. And there's no one else. That would hurt just as much, but it also doesn't make him evil.
I know. I completely, deeply co-sign. Okay, let's move on to our final headline. We'll keep this one quick because it's also Broadway adjacent. But really, you know what? I don't know that there's much to be said. Really just confirmation of a lot of the feelings that I've had for many years. So, Sarah, I want to know your thoughts. So, here goes. Broadway legend Patti LuPone took aim at fellow legend Audra McDonald in a New Yorker profile this past week. This has been hot gossip this week. Very abuzz in the Broadway world. The conflict traces back to a 2024 incident during Patti's performance in a production of The Roommate, where she complained about hearing a lot of sound interference from the musical Hell's Kitchen, which was being held next door. She was saying she could hear it through the walls. Now, Hell's Kitchen, which is produced by Alicia Keys, so you probably heard about it, it has a largely Black cast. Keisha Lewis, one of the actors in the production, called Patti's complaints bullying and racially microaggressive. And when she did do this on Instagram, Audra responded by liking it and adding like emojis to it. So in this profile, Patti labeled Audra, quote, not a friend, alluding to a past undisclosed rift. When asked about Audra's recent Tony-nominated performance in Gypsy, a role that Patti famously played, she offered only a long silence. A very pointed, long silence. Very catty, very bitchy. Now, Feud has sparked so much discussion online about race, privilege, legacy in the Broadway community. It's confirming what I've always thought, which is that Patti is kind of a bitter bitch. And I think, you said this last week about J.K. Rowling, and I love just this phrase generally for stars like this, but I think she's gotten to the point where she's too big to fail. She's so beloved. She's such an icon of Broadway. I think she thinks she can say anything and it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's just not true. Audra is also incredibly iconic and a massive star. And I think it really says a lot that she hasn't made a statement. She hasn't said anything because she doesn't need to. What do you think, Sarah?
No. Well, I love Audra.
Me
too.
Team
Audra. And I mean, Audra is obviously an incredibly iconic Broadway actress, but also she was on The Good Fight. So
yes, we love her.
And I will always love her. And she's great on The Good Fight. An amazing show, by the way. Yeah, it's okay. So Patti is so from a bygone era, not just because of the racial microaggressions, but also like she's so dramatic. And I feel like Broadway divas used to be really exaggerated. Like just like no one can have a feud like a classic Broadway diva. And I think she shouldn't be feuding with Patti. Sorry, she shouldn't be feuding with Audra. But it's just like, it's so theatrical. Like, that's the only way to describe it.
Yes.
Like, so theatrical. Just a sigh, like a long sigh. Like, oh my God. Like, seriously, woman. Like, so I don't know. Like, this is just one of those things where she's never going to change.
No.
Like, at this point, this is who she enjoys being, clearly. Yeah. She has so many fans. You're absolutely right. And she's still booking lots of work. I mean, she was on Agatha all along and she brought home that Marvel money. So she's fine. She's fine. Yeah, she's totally fine. She can say what she wants with impunity pretty much because she is self-sufficient. And you know what, Audra also can do what she wants. But what I like about Audra is that she's choosing to stay out of it.
Me
Audra
too.
is a lady who's just doesn't need the drama and just makes me love her even more.
Same. Co-signed. And I feel like that cleanly wraps us up. That's this week's episode. I want to say thank you to all of our gorgeous listeners. You can listen to The Reheat for free on the Seeker app. You can also find the show on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me at _StuffSon on Twitter. Sarah, where can our listeners find you?
Listeners can find me on Instagram at @SahikiandSarah. And if you liked this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe so other listeners can find us too. And if you would like us to keep growing, we'd love for you to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thereheat, where we've got some goods in store for you. Thanks for listening.